Well, today we are going to be talking about the best book of all time, and that's going to be Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove. If you're freaked out because it's a Western, don't be. I was also feeling that way. This was a buddy read with my brother. He doesn't read. He insisted on reading a Western, and I knew that this was a classic. Lonesome Dove is about a cattle drive from Texas to Montana. It's 860 pages. It's 365,000 words. And it's perfect. Let's get started with the review. Alright, guys. We're going to talk about plot. This is an 11 out of 10. Just so you know, every single category we're going to be talking about is going to be an 11 out of 10. This book was flawless. It actually was better than I ever expected any book to ever be. It turns the other 10 out of 10s I've graded into 1 out of 10s. I mean, this has seriously ruined my expectations for books. Of course, there's great stuff out there, but the imagination on Larry McMurtry is just forever unmatched. There's just no way anyone could imagine anything as vivid and as thoroughly and as really, I don't know if that's a word, but alright, let's talk about plot. It does start out a little slow. If you need action, if you're not there for relationships or characters, then a lot of this book is probably not going to be for you. It does start very slow. The plot doesn't really move for like 200 pages, but a lot of things are happening. Just small stuff, the major plot hasn't began rolling. But once the ball does start rolling, it is incredible. And it's incredible for a few reasons. First of all, it's so real. And I'm going to be talking about that a lot in this review. And what makes it so real is the unpredictable nature of this book. Listen, it's not like every other book where every fight has to come down to one moment. Things happen maybe fast sometimes, or slow, or God, it's real. This is hard for me to talk about. I don't know how to word this, to be honest. But it's so unpredictable in nature. The plot is things happen as they would. The author is not playing favorites with anyone. If you are so tired of feeling any type of formula in a book, read Lonesome Dove. Definitely no formula in it. Also, to do with plot, on a big book like this, I think you got to keep it fresh. This book has happy times. Maybe it's the funniest book I've ever read. It can also be the scariest book I've ever read. It can be terribly sad sometimes. It can be amazingly happy. It can be everything. It can be everything. It's seriously the funniest book I've ever read and the scariest. For real. Now it's not a horror. It's not scary through the whole thing, but there are some scenes in here I don't think I've ever read faster. For real. Just so suspenseful. Alright, I think that's enough on the plot. Now we're getting into the meat of this book. And that's going to be two things. It's going to be the page-to-page enjoyment, the little things, and the characters and relationships. Obviously, these are both getting 11 out of 10s. First, we can talk about characters and relationships. You know what? Actually, 12 out of 10s. No, 100 out of 10s. 100 out of 10s. This book, as far as characters and relationships goes, is like literally a spider web, like life. Every single character has a different little relationship with every single character. Some of these relationships, at least 2 or 3 of them, are absolutely to die for. These characters are so real that I have to pinch myself to remember that they're like not my best friends. At the very least, not real. Like, it is so hard to believe that these characters don't exist. And I've read some Stephen King now, and people say that about Stephen King. This is on a whole different level. I mean, I haven't read a long Stephen King, and actually all the Stephen King I've read is somewhat early in his career. So maybe I'm being unfair. Soon I'm going to read 11/22/63. But let me get back to the point. These characters feel like my best friends. The world is so alive. The people are so alive. To me, it feels nostalgic. Maybe because childhood kids, and just kids are just so goofy. There's so many characters in here where they're not trying to be funny, but they're hilarious. Like, there's so much diversity. I feel like maybe society has become so judgmental that everyone knows exactly how to act all the time, and we're all very similar. Phones also have kind of made the world smaller because we've kind of connected the whole world. There's not, yeah, people just seem kind of all the same nowadays. And I don't know if I'm just going crazy and if that's how it always was, but I feel like as a kid there was weird people. But there aren't that many like weird people anymore. Am I crazy? I don't know. But in this book, tons of eccentricity. Just eccentric's a great word for this book. This book has so much flavor and has so much this book is so raw. So fucking raw, dude. What else did I say here? It's so organic, it's so real. So hilarious. Guys, so funny. So freaking funny in my personal view. If you think wittiness can be funny and silliness and goofiness and weirdness, and there's so much wit. So funny. I've got notes, but I haven't really been using it. Let's see. Yeah, let's just move on to page enjoyment. And this is very connected to characters, but not always. It's very connected to Larry McMurtry's hilarious imagination. Just guys, every single page in this book is good in itself. There's not chapters to get you somewhere. And if there are, he does it so seamlessly and so well that nonetheless they're very enjoyable. Just little things, whether it's the funny things pigs might do, or the relationships between the characters, or the thoughts inside someone's head, or the differences from today's world to the Wild West, or fun perspectives, or a lot of funny things that just happen in the West, a lot of fun, just little cattle things. And some of you are going, who cares? I promise you I was like that too. I did not want to read this book. I thought, how much can you really surprise me with the Wild West? I already know what it's going to be like. You can't be wrong. There's not a more free setting than the Wild West. So much can happen. Like, it's so big. Have you guys ever seen that Theo Vaughn clip where it's like, Wild West, you could just kill someone, go grow a mustache, go back to the town, become the sheriff, and then search for yourself? It's like, there's so much freedom because of how wild it was. So, page-to-page enjoyment, literally 100 out of 10. This is why I love this book, and this is why I don't think I'll ever be able to match this book, is because every page, besides the sad or the scary or the whatever, I was smiling. For real. It is so charming. It's also very palatable and easy to digest. That's probably gonna turn people off. This isn't gloating in some higher intelligent language. This is something a kid could read, for real. And it's still the most brilliant thing I've ever read. I don't know what else I can say. Usually we do believability, but I'm starting to realize that has a lot to do with the characters and the plot. So, I don't know. If you guys can think of, and believability would be an 11 out of 10 too, but if you guys can think of other things that you'd like me to talk about besides characters and plot, I don't really know what can fit in between there. Maybe I should split it up more. Maybe instead I could do, as far as plot goes, like plot speed, plot predictability, plot mystery. But it kind of changes to every book, and once you start dissecting it too much, it's a bit unfair. Books are not equal to the sum of their parts. All right. If I start saying, how fast was this book? Oh, that's a 5. And then I'll be like, how much mystery was there? That's a 0. Blah, blah, blah. And then add it up. That book still might be a 10 out of 10 in my view. So I think it's just, books aren't all trying to hit 10 out of 10s on these stupid fucking categories. All right. Books are a little piece of art. Some of them are trying to prove a point. Some are trying to make you smile. I don't think you can grade every book on the same scale. That's crazy. One thing I'm gonna start doing in my videos is start putting like 5 books. If you've read any of these and you love them, I'm the channel for you. This is obviously one of those books. If you read Lonesome Dove, if you really give this a fair shot and you don't love it, I might not be the channel for you as far as book recommendations go. It's absolutely perfect. The overall grade, 100 out of 10. I've got a few books that I am deciding on which to read next. For some reason, I know 11/22/63 because I always like reading a big book. I've realized I like to dive into one world. You know, when you have to, books always have to have, you know, a certain amount of pages devoted to introductions and to endings. And me, I like the middle, actually. And I'm probably in the minority there. If it's a good book. Also, you get to know characters better in big books, but I've realized that I always want to have a real big book going. And there's tons of them out there. Right now, I'm deciding between Shogun, 11/22/63, Under the Dome, and It. I still have to wait to find Streets of Loretto, the second book in the Lonesome Dove. Tetralogy, is that what it's called when it's 4? I still have to find the second book. I've decided to only buy books from the thrift store. Larry McMurtry's in the thrift store plenty, so eventually I will find it. I've got plenty of books to read until then. If I don't find it in a few months, I'll just get on eBay. But, yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. I have a feeling I'll make this review again someday. I didn't even mention my poncho. I'm pretty sure this isn't all that cowboy. I'm pretty sure it's more southern than that. But got to do with what you got. And this is the most cowboy thing I had. I swear to God, if I didn't press record on my phone, I'm gonna freak out. But if more than 2 people watch this, we're doing better than we did last week. Let's hit those numbers. If by any chance, what's his name? Really awesome YouTuber. He's got a big beard. His videos are really entertaining. One time I got mad at him in his comments because he low-key spoiled the book for me. Not spoiled, but just talked about the ending, and I hate when booktubers do that. But if you're by chance watching my video again, shout out to you, legend. I just watched your video on that one book on revenge. Why am I talking to one person in a goddamn YouTube video right now? Goodbye, guys.